Man, I forgot almost how to do it. Okay, we are live. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is your host, Matthew, from the Day and Night Podcast. We got another good one for you. Mark over there is in San Antonio. As
Hello,
always,
everybody.
like, subscribe, comment, and I want to thank those that's continue to check in on our content, continue to watch, continue to like and share. Um, the host or the guest that we have coming today is a good one. Um, so be prepared. Hang on to your seats. His name is Derek Newborn. He's a former fitness model, former personal trainer, um, have an extent background in numerous things. So once he comes on, I'll let him do his little explanation background as far as who he is and where he's at today. So Mark, what you got for us?
No, just same thing. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Appreciate everybody that's joining in. Once again, like, subscribe, share, and feedback is always important. And I just want to give a shout out to Diamond Girl and KJ and Christina that always, every week they follow us, and I appreciate that to be, regular viewers. So I appreciate that. I know some other people out there that watches, so I appreciate you guys, and I'm looking forward to this one. So this should be a good one. And like I always say, guys, just start off with STS. As you know, I've got accountability, total fitness. I believe, I mainly tell my clients that, but I believe that's in all aspects. Whatever we're doing to accomplish in life, that you got to stay focused. You have to trust your process, and you got to stay consistent. So I'm always going, echo that because I believe that, and I believe that you, achieve whatever it is you're trying to pursue in your journey. So on that note, I'm just ready to get at it.
Okay, you can keep going. He have a
Oh,
little bit of technical difficulties right now,
yeah,
so I'm gonna try to get him hooked up.
right. Well, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I ain't have anything else to lead with, but just pretty much that. Just I guess if I do a shameless plug, I will do that just to all you guys out there that, I got a lot coming. My training, I'm uploading the app. So I'm gonna do something that's different for me. Is I'm not used to doing online training, but sometimes you gotta get out of your comfort zone. So that's coming in January. Also, I'm gonna start doing my fitness every Sunday stretch session. It's gonna be 30 minutes though. It's not gonna be a whole hour. So I got a whole lot of new content, some really good movements for anybody that has back issues, knee issues, is corrective movements on how to, work those alien parts of your body out. So look forward to that. I'm excited about it. Like I said, it's going to be different doing the online training, but it's just where we at. It gives me more opportunity to reach more people, being I have a regular job. But but that's it on my shameless plug. Just stay tuned. As you know, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, Facebook. So look for accountability, total fitness. So, and like I said, I have a whole lot of information coming within the upcoming weeks. So it should be good. A lot of fun.
Okay, so basically, what this podcast is going to be about today, like I said, his name is Derek Newborn. So I'll just give you a quick backstory. So basically, Derek, like I said, he used to be a former personal trainer. He was one of the top personal trainers in the state of Florida. He became a published fitness model. So the more attention that he received, the more self-destructive he became. So every aspect of his life, he struggled with it. That it led him to a rock bottom version of himself. He said he attempted suicide multiple times, and he had become a full-blown narcissist after accepting the nightmare that he had become. Instead of killing himself, he decided to dedicate his life to killing that negative version of himself. And so he created something called the Newborn Blueprint. So that's what he's going to come on here and talk about. And one of his life missions is to talk to people about being a narcissist, talk to women as far as being in a relationship with a man that's a narcissist. I guess what to look for, how to navigate that, and so forth. So that's what he's going to be on here to talk about. I know we talked about it briefly once before, as far as narcissism and stuff like that. So I had a great conversation yesterday with our sister Candy, and I was basically saying that one of the things that irritates me is people use that word loosely.
Oh my God, yes.
At some
Yeah,
point, there's always somebody labeling somebody saying, well, this
right.
person is a
Yes,
narcissist. And
yes,
when Candy and I was talking yesterday, she's a therapist as well. So
right.
she basically broke it down and was saying, like, there's two different versions of narcissists. There's clinical narcissism, and then there's a narcissist that everyone probably Google, and
Hmm.
they hear the definition of somebody that's so highly into themselves, and all they do is think about themselves and nobody else. That's a part of it, but that's not the whole aspect of what a narcissist is. So I'm curious as far as what he has to say about it, because I want to know if he actually was told that by an actual physician or a therapist, or is that something he just identified with? Because, like I said, most people look up, Google the definition, and they say, okay, that sounds like who I am. So
Right.
it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what his response is. And, I was transparent with Candy, and I think I have been before. I believe there has to be a level of narcissism depending on the occupation. I believe all of us had it at some point. I don't
Yeah.
think you can be in sports, in politics. What else is out there that has a lot of competition, and you basically have to see yourself better than those that's around you in order to succeed and to be at the top of your profession. Now, that's just my personal experience. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I
Mhm.
believe that's what some people have, those attributes of being a narcissist. I know I had it. My ex-wife used to always tell me that I was a narcissist and stuff like that. And when I went to counseling, and I told the counselor, she looked at me and laughed. She's like, "No, you're not a narcissist. You're the furthest thing from it." She's like, "Trust me. If you was, as soon as you walked in here, we would have known." So that's why I have like personal issues with it, because again, people just throw that out there because they done seen it on Google, or that's the
Yeah,
going word to talk about. And the other one
exactly.
is what everybody say now: you're gaslighting me.
Yes. Oh my goodness, you hitting the nail on the head.
So
I swear you took everything I was going to say right out my mouth, because just I'm piggybacking off of what you just said, but I'm the same way. It's just interesting how I'm like, well, when has this word been around for years? But it seemed like now it's more, like you said, it's more used. And I think anybody quick to blame the other person to think they're a narcissist because, like, simple symptoms or things that come out to make you feel like, yeah, this person's a narcissist. I've been accused of it with previous exes too. So it's interesting to me too to hear him come on and see, what he has to say, because to me, it's funny. I was talking about that today or yesterday. We was talking about that at work, and it's the norm for everybody to go around pointing fingers at each other, calling everybody that they feel like that's not treating them right, that they are narcissists, and that's who they are. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. It's one of those things that's just a fad. I hate to say it, but I don't. It's one of them things. It's a fad nowadays where everybody's gravitating to it and using it because it's a common used word nowadays. So yeah, it's interesting. I didn't really get an opportunity to look it up and see the clear definition for it, but just hearing other people try to identify somebody with it, yeah. I don't think everybody's a narcissist either. I think part of it, like you said, if you're in a competitive nature and you're a dominant person as an individual already, is that bad to be a narcissist? Depending on, again, my whole thing is with intent. If you do something intentionally to do something towards somebody, then yeah, by all means, that's definitely a narcissist. But like if you just a dominant person and you just very uh commanding, because that's kind of your personality. If that's what a narcissist is, then that's who you are. But if you're not doing it to really directly hurt anybody, then I don't think it's that bad. But I know there's a lot of people out there that do use it to their benefit to kind of hurt other people. So I guess that's why it is being used so much more nowadays, because it is, got to be balanced with it. For the ones that's not, there's a lot out there that is doing that and getting out of control with it. So, but it's definitely an overused word. It's a popular word again that everybody likes to jump on and ride it for right now until something else comes up, and everybody want to piggyback on that.
Okay, so just real quick, we got one response so far. Christina, she says, hello, what's
Hello,
up?
Christina.
Okay, he just chimed in, so we're gonna go ahead and get this started. Okay. Derek, are you there?
I made it. I made
Okay,
it.
there you go, brother. How you doing?
Good, man. Sorry I'm late. I couldn't find the Zoom link.
Oh, no worries. I should have made sure. Normally I'll send it just in case if someone lost it, whatever, because I know that was a while back when I sent you the link. So
Yeah, I made it. I'm here.
All right. So I just gave a quick overview as far as who you are, as far as from the bio that you sent. So if you could just go into detail as far as who you are, what got you to where you are today, and basically just your life story.
Okay. So Derek Newborn, and what I do currently is number one, I help men avoid common pitfalls of modern day society. I help them overcome self-sabotage as well. And on the flip side of that, I also help women avoid men that are self-sabotaging themselves. So how I got to this point is started off in the personal training world and built a successful training business. And with that success, became a full-time fitness model, full-blown fitness model, living that lifestyle. And so the more success I got and the more attention with that I got, the more self-sabotage I essentially started creating in my personal life, in my love life, with my relationships, with my friendships, because I was struggling with depression from early age and struggling with mental health and really not feeling good about myself and being too proud to acknowledge that. I was unable to stop all the self-sabotage. And that led to eventually, at some point, everybody walks away from you because they can only handle so much. And that led to my rock bottom, which was 2 suicide attempts. And then from there, a stint in mental hospital, and essentially had to rebuild myself by first acknowledging and taking extreme ownership of all the chaos and hurt that I caused. And once I was able to take ownership of that, that means I was able to take ownership of the rest of my life. Because if I created that before, that means I could create something vastly different this time if I'm rooted in extreme ownership. And then that's what slowly, through my experience, I've been able to help men and women avoid all that mess that I've created once in my life.
Okay.
That's a Reader's Digest version.
That was good. So I have a lot of questions for you because, like I said,
Yeah.
your bio was very, very transparent.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious about when you say that you're a narcissist. Now, Mark and I was just discussing as far as that term narcissist. Now, that's just my personal opinion. Now, is that something that you self-diagnose yourself with, or that's something a therapist actually told you, okay, this is what we see your personality as, this is what you have? Because that's,
Yeah.
to me, that's a real,
yeah, there's
statement.
narcissistic personality disorder. There's bouts of narcissism. So it really came when working with my spiritual mentor. And I feel like narcissism right now is such a buzzword in
Hmm.
social
Yeah.
media, and somebody gets broken up with and they call the other person a narcissist because they don't like it anymore. But anyway, no, it just came from acknowledging the self-absorption where it was always take, take, take and give nothing in return. So when it came to my girlfriend, even my family and friends and clients, it was how can it make me look better with complete disregard for their well-being or their thoughts or their feelings. So it's just a constant self-absorption. Um, so it was rooted in narcissism, not to the degree of like, physical abuse or anything crazy like that. Just very, very self-absorbed. But again, I want to take extreme ownership. So if I can label that version of myself and it's narcissist, then I'm good with that.
Okay. So as far as what led you to, dare I bring it up, as far as you wanted to commit suicide, is it because how you felt you was treating people? What actually, I know you say you was suffering from depression. So if
Yeah,
you want to discuss that.
yeah, absolutely. So number one, so depression runs on both sides of my family, and it's something I really never understood or I guess you could say thought was real. But I was never like happy with myself. And there's certain experiences in my life that made me feel that way. But I never felt great about myself, no matter how big my personal training business got, no matter how successful my modeling career was, no matter how great my relationship was with my girlfriend. I always felt empty, undeserving, and just didn't want to exist. But when I went through all those things, I was so shameful and so angry and just really feeling bad that I created all that. And so what I really wanted to do was kill that version of me. But when things get so dark and your mental health is so unstable, wires get crossed and it gets to the physical part where you physically try to remove yourself. So I was so far, I was just desperate to get rid of that version that I tried to um, take my life when really I just wanted to get rid of that
Right.
past version of myself so I could start with a clean slate, and
Right.
not, the people that you hurt, they don't give you a clean slate, if they're, so I didn't know how to disconnect other than physically try to remove myself.
Okay. Now, are you still currently a personal trainer and a fitness model? Or is that something you let go of?
No, so I walked away from the fitness modeling career towards the downfall of everything. Now my training business is all online.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have an online coaching fitness business and then an online life coaching business.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that was interesting because both my brother and I are personal trainers.
Okay.
Um, and so when you mentioned that in your bio, because I'm thinking we both competed in competitions. I can't speak for Mark, but when I was in it, like I really got so in tune with myself. And at the
Mhm.
time when I was married, like the world was just like dead to me.
Yeah.
And I started to get so, like I said, so wrapped up in myself that I
Yes.
was pushing everyone off, to the side. So do you feel as though your modeling career was feeding into some of that narcissism?
Yeah. So essentially what happened is I struggled with abandonment most of my life. So my father ended up going to jail when I was like 7 for a period of time. And obviously that put my mom in the single mother situation. So the first feeling of abandonment was essentially my father, this person who's like the closest to me is leaving, right? That's what I felt at that age. And then, my mom being a single mom, she had to juggle everything. And that meant like, just dropping me off at 3 a.m. at elementary school and just sleeping by the gate till the maintenance man came, and everybody making fun. Um, all the way up through in my early 20s when I got divorced and, my wife took everything away. So I had this subliminal thought that everybody that I love and everybody close to me is essentially going to walk away at some point, no matter if I'm a great human, no matter what I do, they're going to walk away. So having that imprinted in my subconscious and then getting this attention of from the modeling career and social media and all that, I had a great long-term relationship with my living girlfriend at the time, but all I was doing was using that attention to essentially lie and cheat because I believe this woman was going to leave me at some point. So I better have something lined up on the side.
Right.
Right. And obviously we don't know how that never works out. So once that walks away, you know, I always, all it did was reinforce that, hey, I told you she was going to leave. Look, and I just build this cycle. And sure enough, everybody leaves, but they left because they didn't have a choice, because I had that trauma that I never healed.
Mm-hmm.
And that drastically sabotaged my whole life. So, you know, it took me a while to even get comfortable again with social media because I used it as an excuse. Social media made me do this. My modeling career made me do this. But again, once I took that extreme ownership, as I will say, okay, and I need to focus on healing this trauma. So I'm in full control of my life. The moment we start placing blame on A, B, or C, essentially we're just saying we don't have control of our life.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So you said you help young men as far as to recognize and, you know, navigate around that, the narcissism. So what is it that you actually do? I know you have the newborn blueprint, if you can explain what that is.
Yeah. So the newborn blueprint is essentially designed for men that essentially like I was, where everything's probably great on the outside, but on inside, they know they're not doing well. And hopefully they come to me at the point where they're just starting to make minor mess ups and minor mistakes, slowly falling out of alignment. Because, you know, as men in this modern society, we can essentially really have anything we want in a matter of seconds, whether it's attention from women, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, we can have all that. So what happens is, you know, guys that are successful in any aspect, it's even harder for them to reach out and say, hey, I need help because I'm struggling. Because I know if I would have did that at the height of my modeling career, people would have been like, dude, what are you struggling for? Life's great. You know, that would have made me feel any worse. So the newborn blueprint is a place where you can come if you're struggling, and when we can start building a game plan and taking ownership instead of them trying to figure out themselves, trying to be too proud to say anything. So it's a place where you come not here to tell you what's right or wrong, here to help you align your actions with where you want to go in life.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
That it does.
Sense, yeah.
Now, is that any age group? Is it more so focused on young men as far as in the 20s?
It's any age group. It's most of the clients are in their mid 30s and mid 40s. I'm 40, but most are mid 30s and mid 40s. A lot of middle-aged men that have, like, you know, successful doctors or whatever it may be, and their words and actions aren't really aligning up with what they want. So we iron out those wrinkles before they get too far down the road.
Okay. Man, I love it. I really do. Because I didn't really come to that realization as far as, you know, that I was actually going down that path. You know, like I was saying, my ex-wife always said that I was a narcissist, whatever. But I felt as though for me, it was just sitting back and just seeing in the past as far as like how I treated my wife and how I treated other people. I think when I actually got out of doing competitions and stuff, I was able to sit back and really evaluate as far as who I was, the things that I was doing. And that's what helped me and saved me because, you know, I'm retired military. And to an extent, I believe that there has to, not have to be, but I believe there can be a slight form of narcissism just because depending on the position that you hold or where you're at. I think sometimes you have to have that mentality of I'm the best, no one is better than me, just because what you're dealing with, you have to have that mindset.
Well, in reality, and to have any success in life, you have to have a touch of narcissism at some point. If you want to have your own business, if you want to be great at competition, whatever it may be. So where it crosses the line is like, you know, if you believe and act like you're the best bodybuilder, and you're married, that's great, but you also probably need to be the best husband also.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
again, narcissism is really, it comes from when like words don't match up. Like I used to be in public just the greatest boyfriend, right? But I had all this side stuff going on. And when it was her and I at home, we barely spoke. You know, my words weren't aligning with my actions.
Right.
So that's the difference, you know.
And that's what I came to, that realization. I had to step back and say, you know what? What I'm saying and doing is like totally two different things.
Yeah.
And when she was telling me that, I didn't want to hear it because I was,
Yeah.
like I said, I was so engulfed in, me,
Yeah.
that I couldn't see it or hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what I did. Cause I struggled for so long financially, and like, she got put on the back burner because I was like, hey, I got to build this personal training business. So I'm doing all this. And then, hey, this is my shot with modeling. You got to understand. And then, oh, hey, this is my this is my side chick. She didn't understand that.
Yeah.
That's about as far as it went. But yeah, so that's what I help men with. You can have everything you want. You just have to be clear on what you want, and you have to have ownership of everything in your life, because we're not responsible for what happens to us. We're only responsible for how we respond to it, so like I'm not responsible for my father leaving or anything like that, but I'm responsible for dealing with that abandonment. It's my responsibility not to use it as a crutch, and that's where that becomes really freeing with guys that I work with. Once they take extreme ownership of all the negative, that means from this day forward, you have the whole life you can create with that kind of ownership.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had something, right?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, Derek, if you could, because I'm interested in seeing how you say you help ladies as well. So what is your process on how do you help acknowledge women or have women notice the same symptoms that you say that men have? How do you help the women with that?
Yeah, so with women, a lot of women come into my program coming off of a divorce or still reeling from a nasty breakup or some sort of relationship trauma. And so number one, we work on just them reinvesting in themselves and start finding their self-worth through the physical aspect of changing their body. But we know the physical and mental is all connected, right? So once we get them in the basic daily habits, through those habits, I can kind of see where they're at with themselves, where they're not doing what's needed or whatever it may be. And through that, and based on what I know about their past coming into the program, they can tell me, so and so cheated on me and did this to me. And immediately, right, same thing. They have to have ownership also of what they allowed. So ownership is the path to everything. So they come in saying he's this cheater, liar, narcissist, whatever, which might be true. But essentially, what are you going to do about it now that you're in this position? And that's how we start empowering the women, just like we start empowering the men. The thing about the women is they can come to me and there's not too many things that I haven't done, so I can literally tell them why this guy probably did that. Has nothing to do with them, has to do with things he didn't heal 20 years ago. So it really comes to them taking ownership. And once they take ownership of their response to whatever they've been through, they get focused on their the mental and the physical. And now as they start to develop this new person, they also know essentially what red flags to look for, more noticeable of, again, when men's actions don't line up with their words. So it sets them up for a very empowering journey after that. So I set both men and females on empowering journeys just through having extreme ownership, really.
So I'm curious with that being said. So when a woman comes in and she confronts you with that, is there a program or do you recommend that she gets him and bring him in and y'all kind of work together, or does it primarily have to be separate? Because I'm thinking if she comes in and said he's doing this, this, and that, and you diagnose it and said, yes, this is what he is, does she just go back and tell him, well, this is what he told me and you need to fix it? And I'm just doing devil's advocate, like, creating a scenario? Does he
Yeah.
push back
I mean,
or?
very, very seldom do I work with like an actual couple. It's usually
Right.
just one side or the other. But it's so if I have a conversation with her and she says he's doing A, B, or C, right? That when it comes to her situation, at the end of the day, she gets to decide what she allows.
Right.
Right. So let's just say, she wants to figure out a way to make it work with him. Then she has to she has to take ownership. She has a process to go through, right? If she doesn't want to make it work with him, that's fine also, but there's a process you have to go to setting yourself free. So either way, she has to forgive and take ownership of everything that's transpired, right? Because if it's been an on again, off again, emotional destruction of a relationship, it takes two to have that relationship. It takes two to communicate. So you can't put all the blame on one person. You have to take responsibility for your part, and then you can essentially walk away if you want to.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Derek, I don't know if I told you, but we're actually live on YouTube. So there's
Oh,
viewers
are
that,
we?
yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I should have told you that, but there's viewers that have some questions. And one, she asked, are narcissists capable of loving?
Yes. Not as a narcissist, though. So first so a lot of the root of that question really first is, are narcissists capable of changing? Because as a narcissist, really the only thing from the outside, it looks like the only thing that they love is themselves. Really, they hate themselves. That's why they're so narcissistic.
Right.
Right. So if a narcissist can heal, of course he can love. Any human can love, and even in my most narcissistic days, the woman I was with, I 100% loved. Now, most people say, well, obviously you didn't love her because you cheated on her all the time.
Right.
I 100% loved her, but I was 110% set on never being abandoned again. You see, so the only thing more important than me loving her was me making sure that I was never abandoned again. Does that make sense? So they can love at any stage. It just doesn't come out right.
Okay, so this is when it's tricky for me because, like you said earlier, that's the buzzword now is being a narcissist.
Yeah.
So I know the one thing that most people focus on is the self-absorption. And I don't know if you pay attention to social media and stuff, and I see more women that do it than men, but it's like their whole feed is nothing but them. They're just taking pictures every day, 3-4 times a day. It's just pictures of them doing any and everything.
Yeah.
So do you have people to come in and kind of have not the clinical diagnosis of a narcissist, but just the self-absorption?
Yeah, I mean,
how would you navigate that?
I mean, in this society, we all see it. So people, I think, there's nothing wrong with, I think everything comes in balance. So self-absorption, I'm all for people, posting a million selfies a day, as long as their relationship with their self is where it's supposed to be. So, right, if you post 100 selfies a day, that's great for you. Those are lasting memories. But if you're doing it for attention to take and not receive, that's when it becomes narcissistic. There's a lot of people in the fitness world, they post, and I still do it from time to time, shirtless pics, bikini pics, whatever, that they use to inspire or get clients and end up changing their clients' lives because of a picture that they posted. Right. So it's really about what are you trying to create with that? Or is that posting 100 selfies just creating more insecurity with yourself?
Right. And that's what I'm looking at as far as it's because KJ, she just chimed in and asked a question. So what if the narcissist doesn't know that they have a problem? When I was going through it, I didn't know. So I mean, now because it's such a buzzword, it's kind of
Yeah.
hard for somebody not to really know. But for somebody just really totally clueless and they just feel as though they're just being themselves.
You're at that question?
Yeah, how would you?
Oh, how would I
Yeah, how
tell
would
them?
you navigate that? Yeah,
If they don't know?
yeah. If they don't like, if they just don't believe that they are, and they being told that you're a narcissist, like I refuse to believe that, I don't accept that. That's your belief, not mine.
Yeah, I mean, if I use myself as an example in my heyday, and if anybody tried to tell me I was a narcissist, I wouldn't have believed that. I would have said, no way, look at all this great stuff that I do. And really it has to come from somebody who's close to you, and that person has to make a decision for themselves. So if you're with a narcissist, it's where it goes back to the ownership. If you choose to stay with this person that you even think is a narcissist, that's on you. That's your responsibility. So you can either ask this person to get help, and if they don't, you walk away, or you choose to stay in this relationship with this narcissistic person. But every time you choose to stay or let things slide, all you're doing is adding fuel to that narcissist, because essentially you're saying, hey, what you're doing is fine. And that's what essentially happened to me. Is every time I'd mess up, all the way from cheating just to other stuff, my girlfriend would say, it's all right, Derek's struggling, or Derek's busy, or whatever it may be. But all that did really subconsciously for me was like, cool, that means
Yeah, let you off the hook.
I have no reason to change.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas if she was like, yo, we're either going to therapy or I'm kicking you out, right? Then that probably would have prevented suicide attempts in mental hospital, right? Because it wouldn't have got that far, because there would have been drastic changes. But it was her choice to keep going, because that's what she thought was the right thing. It was my choice to keep doing what I was doing. So when it comes to narcissists, you have to be very blunt and straightforward. And then you have to make a decision. Either you're going to continue to participate and fuel that narcissist, or you're not. Because narcissists aren't born. Nobody's born a narcissist. Certain things have to transpire in life for them to become that.
Right.
For them to stay that way. So a lot of people want to call out and talk about narcissists. 90% of them are actually contributing to the narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You know, and
Yeah,
that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's actually
Yeah, it is.
contributing to the person that's
Yeah.
hurt so much.
Yeah, that's what I find interesting. That's why I asked you about the age group, because most young men, I would think, will assume that they don't really know because they're in it.
Mhm.
So it's not till we become our age, like we're both 50. And I was around your age when I started to really realize it and start to take notice of it.
Yeah.
So for someone, a young male, 20, 25, they're not really thinking about that. So do you reach out, or how do you grab those, the
I mean,
young men just like that?
yeah, I mean, young men, I mean, it took me till my late 30s to get half of a brain, you know what I mean? So like, really it's a position where I can only put my journey and share my lessons and story out there, and then they have to be able to reach out to me. Because me at the height of my modeling career, even feeling the way I felt inside, if I had some dude reach out to me and be like, bro, I'd be like, I ain't got time for that, homie, because
Right, right.
really, even when everybody walked away from me, I had to make the choice. I could 100%, just keep going on that same path, find new girlfriend, find new friends, keep modeling, keep living up that life if I want to, you know what I mean? But I made a decision obviously not to. So I feel like young dudes in this society, they got to go through that stuff before they come to a realization about,
Right.
how life and ownership and all that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just got to go with the process,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
basically.
That's why I try to be as transparent as possible on my social media. Because if there is somebody struggling, hopefully they're like, well, if this guy can share that kind of transparency on social media, maybe I'll shoot them a message.
No, but that's big though, because I admire you, because to go through what you went through and want to help people, because you could have easily just said, you know what, I'm good, I made it through. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
for the rest of you guys, good luck. So I
Yeah.
commend you on that. Really.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah.
Mark,
Okay,
you
so
gonna say something?
yeah, I was just going to say, just to kind of go backwards, I was just going to identify what Derek was saying earlier in the podcast when he was talking about self-sabotage. Now, there's one thing that I had a problem with. So it's like a two-part question. Is the first one, and Matt, you remember this, 'cause I used to come to you and tell you, I always, for maybe 4 different relationships, I would tell the women literally before I get into it
Oh
that I
yeah.
have a 2 year, I personally call it a 2 year curse, where literally I get with the woman, everything could be perfect, nothing's going wrong, but because prior my early years I got hurt so bad by different women, it made me lose trust.
Mhm.
So I literally 2 years in a relationship, I would just go cold turkey, back out the relationship, find every reason to get out of it and just move on to the next. And I think I did that for like 3 different relationships. So I was always accused of deliberately trying to hurt women, and they called me narcissist because they say you knew what you was doing. Why would you tell a woman that and then still pursue to be with them if you know you're going to bail in 2 years?
Yeah.
So that's the acknowledgement part. Now the question is, would you consider that as a red flag for myself to kind of self-evaluate, say, okay, obviously that's not good because you're hurting a lot of women's by telling them, yeah, I'm only in it for 2 years. Or is that something that you can eliminate and just work on it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going down the deep end in a sense.
Well, have you figured out what thoughts and feelings come up when you hit that 2 year mark?
Yeah, literally, I just get kind of like what you were saying, how I just feel like not so much abandoned, but I just feel like they're going to cheat on me or they're going to do something wrong because when it gets so good, something that happened in the past with other girlfriends to where they broke up with me or cheated on me. So that just kind of affected me to where I felt like, okay, once it's good, I know she's going to do wrong by me. So when it got to that 2 year mark, sometimes I didn't even think about it. It just literally, I just pushed back, started losing interest. It was a lack of communication. And it's just to the point where I just literally broke up with them. And they never really did anything wrong. I can honestly look back and say I had some really good relationships, but it was just myself not allowing myself to be able to say that, yeah, I can be happy and move
Yeah.
past 2 years.
Yeah. So what happens is, and people don't realize this, is whatever trauma we go through and whatever thoughts that creates. So like mine was abandonment, which essentially, so I became fearful of being alone, right? That was essentially my greatest fear for most of my life. Whatever our greatest fear is, if we don't heal the trauma, that's what we end up actually creating.
Right.
So I spent all these years working so hard not to wind up alone. And guess what the end result was?
You was alone.
It was alone.
Yeah.
Right. So essentially you're doing the same thing.
Right.
Right. So you got hurt in a relationship. So now you have these thoughts about relationships.
Exactly.
So now every single relationship is going to end. Right. So there might not be, you might end it before there's cheating or infidelity or whatever. But really what you're trying to avoid is what you're essentially doing to yourself. So you're being dishonest with yourself the moment you bail out. So whatever it is that you're searching for is already inside you. You just have to heal that trauma. So like part of me healing my trauma is me firmly believing and understanding how God, how the higher power works. And that lets me know that it's impossible for me to ever be in this world alone. That he'll always be with me no matter what I'm going through or dealing with. So now having that firm belief that I can never be abandoned ever again, I just get to show up in my most authentic version. It doesn't matter if somebody says something negative to me. It doesn't matter if a girl's not interested in me. It doesn't matter if I'm struggling financially. I'm not abandoned. So now when I'm operating my most authentic version, now I start attracting others that are in their most authentic version instead of essentially scarcity. So the moment you heal that stuff, you'll you'll find yourself in a relationship where you just want to lean in more and more. And that's what happens. So essentially our greatest fear, our unhealed trauma creates our greatest fear. Our greatest fear is what we ultimately create from the unhealed trauma over and over again.
Yeah. So what's the saying? What you resist persist.
Yep. There you go. Yep. 100%. 100%. Yeah. That's why like when, you see women post on social media, all men are dogs or whatever it may be. Guess what's going to keep coming in?
Yep. Keep it tracking.
I'll never be able to lose this weight. Guess what? It's going to be a struggle for you to lose the weight.
So, Derek, I have a question. When you came to this conclusion, did you allow yourself to heal and not date, or did you heal and was dating at the same time? Because to me, the key is healing and loving yourself and getting to that point, and then, like you said, then you'll start attracting the right person to you. Yeah, I find that it's hard to heal and date somebody at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, mine literally once I started taking ownership and was ready to start the healing journey, and the hardest part was for me to actually forgive myself. But no joke, I had so much social anxiety that it started off with I just wouldn't leave my house. I would just self-medicate with prescription pills on my couch, and my mentor literally had to mentally hold my hand and get me to the place where, all right, today you're going to take your dog for a walk in the park for a couple hours. And then from that, then it was like, all right, you're going to take yourself to lunch or dinner. And then from that, you get a little more confidence. So that's how my healing journey went. Just being comfortable with myself, being out in public, because I had this thought and feeling that wherever I went in public, people were talking about me and the person that I was. Right. And like I had that, there was a time where I would never want another woman or person to be seen in public with me, because I would never want their family or friends to be like, oh, I can't believe she's talking to that guy or whatever. So I had to overcome all that. And now, just through baby steps, and sometimes I'd go out and there'd be a trigger and I'd self-destruct again and have to regroup and try again. And that's why you have to truly want to change, because you can tell people you're changing, but you have to understand that does not mean anybody's going to come back into your life. So you have to it gets lonely when you start from rock bottom, because you're doing all this work, but that nobody's ready to recognize that, you know what I mean? So you take baby steps, and you start dating yourself again. You start having a relationship with yourself, because if you're still healing, all you're going to do is attach your stuff to whoever you're trying to date.
Exactly.
I guarantee whatever's unhealed, that's be the end result.
Yeah.
So it really just came to me, learning to love myself, learning to date myself again, and learning to experience life again. And again, from that version of myself, I'll be able to attract and manifest what it is that I actually want.
That's good words. That's good words. Good wisdom.
Thank you.
Mark.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I think you was going to say something else. Yeah. I mean, just the other one I identified with is when Derek, you was talking about I know we're speaking on the women, but when you were saying about I was posting a lot of selfies for personal training, and I use it for the advertising, because I was actually advised to do that, because again, you do bring in a whole lot more clients, even though you're revealing, like you said, just your shirt off, the tank top or whatever.
Yep.
So I was accused of that in previous relationships, of that's narcissism, because all I want is attention, and I'm not intentionally using it for personal training. I'm using it for my own personal reasons. So I guess what I'm saying is, to me, I don't truly believe that, but would you feel like that may partly be true? I believe it's the actual individual, and I always say it's the intent of that particular person. If that is your intention, then automatically.
Yeah, but so it just goes back to words line up with action. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you're posting on. Let's just say you're posting a shirtless pic every single day. because, you're getting clients, you're growing, you're following, you're getting business, and you're going home and being 100% loyal to your girlfriend. She has access to your phone. She can see everything, right? I guarantee there's no problem with that, right? But the problem is when there's insecurities based around that. So whether that's insecurities that she had prior to you guys getting together, or it's because something that transpired. If your words are lining up with actions,
Right.
that will,
Yeah.
you have nothing to worry about. You have extreme ownership, and those insecurities will either be healed, right? Because everything is in alignment, or that person will remove themselves from your life in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I guess I asked you this earlier, so forgive me if I'm asking you the same question again.
Mhm.
So, and when you're doing your process, it's obviously a process that you get the men to first acknowledge, and then after that you handle it and then move forward. Have you ever had anybody that kind of in a sense felt like they was healed, but they wind up resorting back to what they did? And do you work with them again, or you just feel like it's something more deeper than that, or you feel like most of your clients, once you help them, they don't never resort back to that?
So they don't necessarily resort back because we heal the
Mm-hmm.
trauma.
Right.
But as you heal and grow into this new person, so as you're growing into this new person, the negative side of the universe, the devil is always at work and will
Mm-hmm.
always try to get you through the most familiar thoughts, experiences, and people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the only way you become healed and more strong is going through those battles,
Right.
right? And as humans, we're not going to win every single battle,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we will
Exactly.
war at the end of the day. So, at the beginning when I'm working with them, their battles are, cheating on their wife, right? And
Mm-hmm.
whatever happens. So now they've healed from that. So now maybe the battle looks like, them just liking a girl's picture that they know they shouldn't be. Right.
Right.
So new battles come through healing. And then from that, maybe their daily battle is, just staying off dating websites or porn websites or whatever it may be. So the
Mm-hmm.
battles always are always there. They just change in their appearance because as they grow, it brings on new levels, new devils, all that stuff as
Right.
humans.
So this might sound like a crazy question, but I'm just curious. So when you get most of your clients, all of them, I can't say they all exactly the same, but is it for the most part, most guys come in exactly with the same situation or how they became to that point, or everyone is unique, different in their own little way? So how they
Uh,
came to that.
you mean what they experienced?
Yeah, as far as what made them feel like, okay, yeah, I need to get more help because obviously something wrong. Like, does it all fall down the same pipe, or is it different? Somebody convinced them to come, or they literally self-aware and realize, yeah, I need help.
Usually it comes from just becoming self-aware, or, a lot of times they come with the mask of needing help to get in shape.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that conversation, they're like, this is what's going on. And a lot of times it's from, like sisters or aunts that see my post and then they share it with them, and
Right,
then they kind of follow along or listen to some of my interviews, and then they reach out or whatever it may be. And then some people, it's they lost their job because of their self-sabotage, or
right.
they lost their family and the life that they had because of their self-sabotage.
Right. Yeah, I'm just curious about that because Matt had made a point earlier that I was, kind of thinking that way too. Is sometimes you don't know, or you may be in denial, or you feel like there's nothing really wrong with me. That's why I was curious to how most of your clients come about. Is it somebody, like you just said, reach out, or they really just realize? Because I said earlier, I've been told numerous of times that I'm a narcissist, and then the only one that I truly don't believe is the one I do believe is the situation with the 2 year curse thing. And that's
Mhm.
something work in progress.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying, like, I never personally ever look at myself and say that. And of course, we all think that we're doing everything right for the most part, but
Hmm.
I would never think that that's me personally, even though I always get that. And then, like we were saying earlier, how it's a buzzword to me, I think it's a overreaction a lot of time where some things may seem similar, or you automatically assume, okay, this person's a narcissist, you need help because you're doing this and that. So that's why I was curious
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
I
interesting
still
to me.
called a narcissist for sharing my story about being a narcissist.
Oh
Wow.
wow.
Or like my favorite is like I'll make a post about narcissism and exposing narcissists and stuff, and like, you know, I'll get people will comment and stuff, and you know, females are comment, sorry you went what you went through, a narcissist will never change, I can't stand narcissists, and then I respond like, you understand that I'm talking about myself here. And then they're like,
Right.
oh, I'm so glad you were able to change.
Mhm. Yeah. Now this is going to sound crazy again. I'm a person. I'm always going to ask the most craziest, weirdest
Perfect.
questions. I'm a curious person.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever come across where, if it's even possible, two narcissists together, if that's even remotely possible, or like I said, one don't believe it and the other one doesn't believe it, but in reality, maybe both of you are.
It's nearly impossible
Hmm.
because essentially they would starve to death. So if you'll know if you notice or anyone takes a look at people that are in narcissistic relationships, so there's the narcissist,
Right.
and then there's essentially um, a people pleaser
Hmm.
that the narcissist attracts. And the person's a people pleaser because they have lack of self-worth,
Right.
self-love because of whatever they've gone through leading up to that.
Hmm.
Right. So again, that's how they start fueling the narcissist because they're a people pleaser. So what'll happen is, right, the narcissist love bombs them at the beginning of the relationship, gets them pulled in, and now the narcissist goes about their activities. And since the partner is a people pleaser, they will always find a way to validate or make
Right.
excuses on the narcissistic actions,
Hmm.
aka just throwing fuel on the fire
Right.
for the narcissist. And then
Exactly.
that person, by the time it gets so bad, you know, that the people pleaser is now even more traumatized than before the relationship.
Hmm.
So so if you had two narcissists, it'd be like two opposite.
Yeah, they
So they would
bump their head. Yeah,
reject each other.
they literally repel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess I'm asking all the questions now.
Oh, it's just you and me, it looks like.
Yeah, I know, man. You where you at, dude? But yeah, so it's just funny I asked that because I came across a couple of relationships previous where we both accused each other of that. That's why I had to ask that because I
Yeah.
felt like she was a narcissist. She felt like I was. So that's why I was like, there's no way possible. And you beautifully explained that because that's kind of how I was seeing it. But at that time, she was viewing me as that, but she came across to me. But again, that was when I was still kind of ignorant to what
Yeah.
narcissism is because a lot of people just throwing that word around, and I never
Yeah.
really came across it. So I just felt like she fit all the descriptions. So that's
Yeah.
what I deemed her as a narcissist. And that's where I feel we at right now. A lot of people categorize everyone and put them in that category as a narcissist when I
Yeah.
don't think initially everybody's a narcissist like that. And I hear it
No,
more with women.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I see it all the time on my comments on social media. Just because he broke up with you or doesn't like you anymore doesn't mean he's a narcissist, you know. And again, it goes for right. Or just because you guys have different beliefs or different wants or goals and needs in life doesn't make either one a narcissist. So a lot of times when we get our feelings hurt, especially now, that's the first word we like to
Right. Yeah. Everybody
throw
wants
out.
to. Yeah. And it's like we can't use that as a scapegoat, me personally, because I feel like that's just making me get off the hook. So that's
Mhm.
how I want to put you as a narcissist to kind of get off the hook of what I might be doing wrong personally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know what happened with Matt. It showed that he ended. So I don't know if he had technical difficulties or what. I'm gonna give him a few minutes because I'm sure he's gonna come back. Because I know we do an hour, so we have
Okay.
like 2 minutes. So I don't know what happened with him. I apologize, but I'm sure it's something technical. But that
It's
never
all
happened
good.
before. There
Oh,
he is
there you
right
go. He's coming back. He's coming back just
there.
in time.
Right? Yeah, that's a little premature there, buddy. Yeah, but yeah, this is good. So in the personal training, when you say you was doing that, do you feel like that? And I think Matt asked you this already. because like you said, we both personal trainers.
Yep.
So I'm on a journey to where I'm trying to get my business to go to the next level. Do
Mhm.
you feel as because we get more, I don't know, with you, probably mostly you get more women clients, you might have balance with both. I have primarily women clients.
Mhm.
So I've been accused of that as well. Oh, you just want to get women because you're trying to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
So that's why I felt like, no, this is not for me to flirt with women or pick up women,
Yeah.
but I got that so many times in the past in other relationships.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, it comes down to whatever's being projected on you is a reflection
Hmm.
of them. So if it's not true, right? It's not your responsibility, right?
Hmm.
If somebody comes into a relationship with a set of
Y'all
insecurities,
still there?
Yeah, we still here. Was wondering what happened to you.
uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what happened? What are you doing? Okay, now we lost Derek.
Me?
There
You see me?
you go. Yeah.
Am I here? Everybody's here?
Yeah, Matt, you still there? Oh no, he's doing something because I saw him appear for a hot second and he was fiddling
I
around
think
with
he's
the
frozen up. But
yeah.
yeah, the insecurities, when they get brought into a relationship, it's not the other person's responsibility to fix those insecurities.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So again, if you're using it to construct a business and that's what the evidence shows,
right.
that's as far as you go. The insecurities are on the other person.
Now, let me ask you this as well. So when you're doing the healing, is it a process or how long? You really don't put a time frame on it because it depends on the individual. It may take longer, or you have
Yeah,
a three
so
month program, or
it's a 12-week, it goes in 12-week cycles. So and it's broken up into um three phases. So like the first phase that we have to go through is the awakening and awareness phase. And that is essentially getting all the good and the bad, the ugly out on the table so we can see what's going on. So we become fully aware of all the good, the bad, like I said,
right.
the ugly, right? Once we have all that on the table and we can acknowledge it, we can sit with it, we can talk about it, all
Hmm.
that, then we can move on to the detachment phase. So the detachment phase, now we can detach everything was never ours to carry. So everything from childhood trauma to the negative thoughts that we have, everything that doesn't serve us and is not conducive to the person that we want to become. So we go through the process of detaching from that version, that past
Okay.
version. Once
All
we've
right.
detached from that past version, now we have this most authentic version of this person, the
Okay.
same unique human that was put on this earth with a very specific set of gifts designed to improve this world. Now that we have that version, then we can go into the alignment phase. So now we can start aligning their thoughts, beliefs, habits, and patterns with this person that they are and the person they're becoming. So essentially, we start shifting and creating a whole new reality for them. And they
Right.
start experiencing life from their most authentic version.
Oh
So
wow.
sometimes it takes more than 12 weeks.
Right.
And sometimes they're done in 12 weeks, but then they're ready to go even deeper and go even further with their potential. But
Right.
essentially, it comes in 12-week cycles.
Right. Okay. Now, one more question. Forgive me if you already answered this.
Mhm.
Do you do this like nationwide, or you just primarily stick to it in your home base where you at in Florida, I believe, correct? Or
Yeah,
you
I'm
do?
in Florida, but the programs are actually worldwide. There's people in
Oh
Europe,
wow.
South
Okay.
Africa, yeah,
Wow.
all over the US, South America, but yeah,
Wow.
worldwide.
Wow. That's good stuff. Well, I'm trying to kill time to get Matt to come back, but I don't know if he will be able to make it because I know we try not to go past too much of an hour.
It's
So
all
I'm gonna
good.
do what we normally do with our guests. Is we, of course, thank you. This helped me out a lot, help enlighten me, give me more understanding. Because again, I was one of those people where I got burned out with what people call narcissism
Hmm.
and all of that. You really shed a lot of light. I
Awesome.
love your testimony. Normally
Thank you.
what we ask you to do, if you have any upcoming events or anything you want to put out there to the viewers and let them know, do so right now and just let them know what you got going on.
Yeah. Really, they just need to check out my Instagram at D Newborn and use my Instagram, shoot me a message because I keep it super organic on there. I like to have conversation. That's the best way to contact me, whether it's about working together or just questions in general about narcissism or anything of that nature. So at
Okay.
D Newborn on Instagram.
Nice. Okay. Great. Well, Matt just ended, so he literally got off. Apologize on his behalf. This never happened, so
All
I'm
good.
sorry it had to happen on you for the first time. But we definitely, speaking on behalf of him, appreciate you. Thank you
Thank you.
for coming on. If you wouldn't mind, we might, call for you again and
Absolutely.
do a part 2 follow
Perfect.
up. But I appreciate you, Derek.
Yeah,
And
man. Thanks for having me.
yes, sir. You have a great weekend.
All right, you too. See you.
All right.